What's going on, Shadow Fighters? It's Boston right here, and welcome back to yet another video of Shadow Fight 3, where I'm going to be comparing the 3 new events that involve skins. Yes, we're going to be comparing the Deep Color event. We're going to be comparing between the Deep Color event, Wheel of History, and the Full Moon Riddles, in which all involve into obtaining the skins as for today. And perhaps I might be comparing 4 events, but I just decided to compare the 3 new events since they were the new events that were involving a skin that we could obtain for this year right here. And the developers have yet to create one new event that will feature something new. I'm not really sure of that, but they were saying in one of the Telegram articles that they were going to feature a different kind of approach for playing the event, in which they did in the Full Moon Riddles. But firstly, we're going to be going through step by step from the first one to the latest one, starting off with explaining everything from the first one to the latest one. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be explaining what the Deep Color Marathon is, the Deep Color is, and then what the other event is, and then we go to the last event. That's how it goes. So Deep Color Marathon, or event. I keep calling it marathons for some odd reason, probably because these events were only known for the marathons, given that the marathons is what we had to go through to get the skins. But anyways, let me discuss it. So Deep Color, it involved judges and a grand arbitress that we had to fight for. It was a survival kind of event where you have to fight 8 different judges, actually 7, because the last one was the grand arbitress. And to deal with her in the end game is surely something that people have been stumbling upon several times and perhaps been struggling. Me myself have gone into several fails during the process of getting the skin, in which I'm going to be getting later, but that's pretty much what the event was all about. Well, the content was pretty much judges and a reworked void room map with all the red grids that was surrounding the model itself, like the topology model, or like a hitbox model, as you might want to say it. But the storyline itself was just revolving of judges, that the Grand Arbitress was like hiring some judges to hijack the void room system, so now she controls it. That's where we get the red anomaly, as you might call it, into the void room, and we were sent in there to stop her. And the event content further on is just marathon, and you couldn't buy the judge sets. For a fact, most of the things was just focused on the marathon, and this marathon is probably what tired people a lot at this marathon, because the marathon itself was probably the main focus of that event, because it was only consisting of an end goal of 6.5k points, and the only way to get points was to play events, either regular or grand, or just complete quests and just complete the blitz. That was the only way you could get points. You could either play the regular one, the grand one, or just complete the blitz. That was the only way you could get points. And now the reason why, which I'll tell you a little bit, that it's taking long, because it was the only opportunities. That's just shortly said. So basically, the event marathon only revolves around getting points from winning events, and also getting points from finishing the blitz. And I've already said it 3 times, so that you guys can remember it for once, so that you guys can also have a fresh reminder of how the event really went, since I'm now comparing this and telling it to you guys. So that's pretty much the events, aside from whenever you win the event. If you win one of the survivals, let's say you play regular and win right there, then you'll already complete an event quest, which grants you a one-time opportunity to get some points by playing the grand mode. But the grand mode is going to have the same challenges, because all these judges that you're fighting against, besides the grand arbitress, had different challenges given the corresponding colors. For example, the obsidian judge, or arbiter, I suppose. I'm not sure if it was called arbiter or judge, but it was obsidian arbiter or something. They called it obsidian arbiter. Had the eclipse challenge that was bugged, while the amethyst one had damage return, and Topa having the blast zones, and so the list goes on, and that's pretty much all the content for that event. Moving on to the Wheel of History, which is the second event that featured a skin and which had to be placed in a marathon like all of the events. That's a little bit information right there, but we're going to get to the event itself. Wheel of History, that's a legendary event, as we all knew, the Wheel of History. The storyline, the content, well, let's go to the content. The content was actually not survival, it was actually Ascension Variant event that was featuring different battles, like as per usual, but this probably is the event that features most ability in part fights, in those part fights before we fight the real boss. Almost all of these legionaries had special abilities. More likely when we went from the 4th stage, because whenever you fight from the 4th stage, then we start to face some more challenges. Then we start to face some abilities, and even Shadow Masters. Well, Shadow Masters can be debatable on whether it's considered a special ability or not, but really, I think people consider that it is. So, but for my own part, I will also say that it is, because it gives a special challenge for us to play accordingly in order to overcome that battle. And same goes for the event boss. The event boss has a special ability, which is in contrast with the Divine Judge or Grand Arbitress, because she didn't have any abilities. She threw kunais instead of needles. That's what I remember, but she didn't have any special abilities to make us have a little bit harder time into dealing with her. Besides, the Ursus the Immortal having his 3 different beam abilities to make us want to make sure to reconsider our strategies and actually approach differently in order to win against the Ursus. And the story behind this was a time portal activated by the Abdicator, which I forgot the name of. It was an Abdicator who activated a portal, sent those freaks, not really freaks, but older generation legionaries into this present legionary pace. What am I saying? I'm saying present legionary time that we're in as this happened, with Queen Yolanda still being her, although not showing her herald modifications, detachment armor that she revealed during the story, if you guys know that. That's spoiler for you guys who are already new to the game and haven't reached that stage yet. But that was the story. A bunch of these immortal legionaries, those old-timer legionaries, they just show up and try to conquer the land and rule it the way they envision how it's going to be ruled. That's pretty much the story. But the present times does not agree with the way they live, because it is not good for them. So therefore we were fighting against these legionnaires, to fight these legionnaires, send them back in time to where they belong, and develop from there. That was the whole entire story. More of the content, well, we could actually buy the Warmonger set and have it as an increase to our power, which was a really good thing, because I could spend tokens for getting the Warmonger set, which was a plus for my own part. And you can also spend tokens for booster packs, both premium and regular, in which it does not feature legendary items, but one card of whatever resource, pretty much all the resources, the colors, keys, shadow energy, coins, not coins actually, but gems. That was pretty much among the currencies that you could get from the booster pack itself. So, and the marathon, I think the marathon has different approaches. It featured a skin in the end, just like the Deep Color marathon, but this time it had more opportunities than the Deep Color event had, because not only were you supposed to fight the events to get some points, you could also spend tokens to get some points on whether it's going to be booster packs or if it's going to be booster packs or buying the shop items. Now, if you bought the booster packs, the event packs, you could actually get yourself more tokens, in which could actually help you progress more with the event. It does shield you down for a little bit, so you gotta take every opportunity that you can. But other than that, it's not only events and using tokens. You could also win some points by completing quests And you could also win points by, what was it again? You could win points by completing quests, and you could also win points by completing daily quests, event quests, and daily quests. Wait, what am I saying? Because the quest that I'm talking about is the daily quest. Okay, so the event quest was also a thing, but then a daily quest was also the quest that you use to get the keys. Those are the regular quests, but the event quest. So we get points from doing the quest and event quests. So you have 4 opportunities to get points, in which for players who already save keys would rather reconsider the option to get points from finishing the regular quest, because they cannot obtain the reward, as they have probably way more than 30 of the corresponding keys to even claim the daily quest reward. So that option was dismissed for the players who were saving keys. And me myself was also dismissing that option, because I'm not going to be paying that much of keys. I wasn't going to lose all my keys just to try to get the event faster just because of one component. I was just sticking with like three pots that I had left, and that was pretty much for the event. It was similar to Deep Color Marathon, but this marathon was actually different in terms of opportunities. It gave us more opportunities to get points in order to reach the well-desired skin that we all wanted to grind for. And of course, not everyone may have the time to even do it, because it will still need some grinding. It still needs some grinding. That's all I'm going to say. And we move on to the most recent event, which is the one that has finished for some days ago, the Full Moon Riddles event. Full Moon Riddles event is an event that is just, it's not really new at all, besides the Midnight Lotus skin, because mostly it features reuse assets. And by the way, by that, it's in the manner of returning events. They just put together existing events and make it available for one day, and they did that because they want to make riddles. This whole event was just about riddles regarding the events that they picked up as players' favorite events. They started with Blossom Festival and moved on to, for example, Market Madness, Swamps, Menace of the Swamps, Family Tree, and a couple others before we even went to the final day, in which the ultimate offer was to get the Torturous Nightmare set and the skin from the marathon, of course. But how the event worked was that it wasn't. I lost my words because I've been talking too much. But what it is that the event was neither survival nor ascension. It was just battles that you had to play, side battles, and like a main battle that you had to play in order to get points. And the marathon were actually designed for you to play the event, but you actually had to get specific entry fees to get into the part battles before you go to the main course battle. I'm just going to be calling them part battles because part battles are actually Lotus's helper battles, while the main battles is where you fight the Lotus or the alternative form of Lotus himself. So the story of the event was pretty much a bunch of riddles. We had to solve riddles before you face the true form of Lotus, while the other alternative forms of Lotuses were Midnight Lotuses. So that's something of that content. And further on, that was pretty much the event itself. You could actually buy the event featured items that were mentioned in the days. Let's say you started with the Blossom Festival. You were actually able to get yourself the Steel Blossom, the Blossom Champion set, Spring Champion set, and you could do that with the Mother Death, Sanguine Forest, Menace of the Swamps. You could get the featured items from the events that were mentioned that was going to be limited for one day. That's pretty much the content. And besides that, there was also Red Packets of Luck, which costed 100 tokens. In that, you could actually get an astonishing jackpot of 8,888 gems, whilst having the booster pack, this kind of booster pack, in the same manner as the previous event packs, the Wheel of History packets. So and the marathon itself was actually 2 stages. It was actually 2 stages. The first stage in the end had the skin, the Midnight Lotus skin, and it offered 10,000 points. But the way you could go through those was to either spend tickets, in which you had to fight those part battles before you go to the main course battles. And if you fight part course battles and win those, you get mooncakes, in which you can use to get points whenever you fight the main course battles. And win the main course battles, then you'll be able to get 200 points, which is another option. So there's only 3 options, but these 3 options revolve into us getting currencies and use them onto these events and just get some points just like that. And given that, we get 200 points from winning against the main course battle. And in order to get the first thing we need, which was tickets, we had to open dual chests, booster packs, or quest chests. That's pretty much all the options that we had. And if we don't have any tickets, we could also have a secondary option to spend 50 gems for enough mooncakes to go straight forward to the main course battle. And that's exactly what I was thinking when I was sitting down with the first impression video and checked out what that event was all about, and checked that price out, and then calculated the gems in my brain to figure out whether or not I would already finish this event within 1 day by just purchasing gems. I did realize I did, but it was going to be very costly, so I decided to not spend any gems, and instead I get an increase in amount of gems, which I'm really happy about. I haven't even spent a single gem lately. Maybe I will do it someday. Maybe I'll do it someday to see what kind of new stuff I want to get. Perhaps just to try to get some new content much faster. That's why I'm pretty much saving the gems, or just waiting for the dual chest marathon so I can zap through those once more. So that's pretty much all I have to say for the event. It was divided to 6 days, well, kind of 7-ish days, but 6.5 days, because each day had their own events represented into the game, the own existing events returning for 1 day. That's pretty much what it is, because what these events have in common, which is pulling off resolution from all of these events, what these events have in common is that nothing really was new. Nothing was really new besides redesigning the backgrounds for the first 2 events, besides the last event, because that was just reusing the Monkey King assets. But really, pretty much every asset was reused. You had different kinds of opportunities between those events, and if I have to give my personal thoughts about it by the content and by its own content, the first event that was featuring a skin was pretty reckless, because you only have few options. It was just me sitting down in a summer day playing the event time by time, survival, while also hoping to get some points, maximum amount of points, so that I can finish the event faster. And one friend told me that people became mathematicians whenever the first event of skin was popping by, to actually know how many battles, or they probably want to know how many battles it took before they could have won. But here's the thing, you don't exactly win all the time, so you're only calculating a minimum of battles and a minimum of time required to overcome the marathon. And I always want to check out what kind of opportunities I do. I always want to check out how many battles and how much time I would at least have to spend in order to get those events, in order to finish those events, marathons. That's one thing I always like to do, is to check the time out and figure out how much time I actually need. Because if I know that, then I would actually have some idea of how I should distribute my days, because everyone doesn't have 24/7 time. I don't think hardly anyone have 24/7 time to play in the game and just go for the event. But I could say in those summer dates of Deep Color event, the Deep Color events was pretty reckless, because it just let me sit down for hours playing that marathon, and also hoping to get also hope to finish the Blitz. Whenever the Blitz was showing up and it was only 200 points, given that you were required 6,500 points. No, it wasn't 200 points. You were rewarded 450 points for that. in which was actually really important afterwards, because as we thought that it was only one time, it turned out to be a thing that resets every day. So the blitz itself was actually going to be useful because it covered almost half the amount of points required to get the skin, which was one important factor for my own part when it comes to playing the event itself. Other than that, well, you couldn't even buy the judge set because that set had to be obtained from the booster pack, which was the second last milestone in that event. So little content, simple combat, but pretty much reckless. The Wheel of History event was a little bit more relaxing, given that they have more opportunities. So whenever I was initially playing the event, I was missing 2 sets. I think it was the helmet and the weapon that I bought, because I got the armor and the ranged weapon for the Warmonger set. So whenever I played the Wheel of History, I went straight for to buy the helmet and the weapon, as I get 2 birds down in 1 rock. Not only do I get these new items and continue my quest of collecting everything, but I would also be able to get some points by just spending those tokens into getting these new items. So that was actually a big plus for my own part. And I couldn't use my daily quests into getting more points, because I wanted rather to save keys than just losing them, to just get another option of getting points. So what I was sticking around with was just playing events. I kind of did it similarly to the Deep Color Marathon, and just kept playing events, and also whenever I had enough tokens to buy the premium packs, I bought the premium packs to see if I could get more tokens. I did not get the jackpot of tokens, but actually a couple of times I got tokens, which actually helped me. Other than that, it had a similar flow as the Deep Color, but I still managed to get the skin, as you guys know, because I've been posting videos about me getting the shiny skins. Whenever I get them, you guys already know that. You can already check it out if you guys are new and don't know that I already obtained the skins, or I can even show them off later here today. But that event, body content, okay, just a bunch of legionnaires with their own mindset, just popping around and they want to rule this present city of their own, had their own unique story, of course. That's what they get. That's what I kind of buy. But what I really buy is that this event was featuring most of the challenges, more set bonuses. It was set bonuses implemented, which is actually the first event that features set bonuses implemented. For a fact, the Abdicator that we had to fight against, plus the Valor, was surely giving some challenge. That's what I have to say right there. And the Ursus the Immortal was also a little challenge. Oh, that's the Kagoon, Wrath of Kagoon. I didn't even know, because sometimes I just saw Wrath and sometimes I just saw Wraith of Kagoon, but either way, it was a shadow form Kagoon that we had to deal with, and he wasn't really an easy cake to go with, to say so myself. He wasn't really an easy person to go on with. He had shadow energy, he can do shadow forms. No, he was in shadow form, he could do shadow abilities. So getting through this Ascension event was sure a bit more unique than the other ones, given that it gave us some more adaptation, kind of way to get around. We actually had to play accordingly to their abilities, their special conditions, for us to get through the battles. But in the end, at the end of the day, I just had a similar flow as the Deep Color event, and managed to get the skin by just playing and purchasing, and so it pretty much goes on, and also completing event quests to get some extra points. That's pretty much what it's all about. And when we get to the Full Moon Riddles, I didn't even mind to put some riddles together. Really, I didn't really. At the beginning of this, whenever I had my first impression, I wasn't really getting into the riddles until the 4th day, I suppose. That's when I tried to answer those riddles, given the 3 opportunities that we had. And yeah, most of them were actually answered correct. Well, given that the last day was all answers correct, but the content was still reused, just like the other events which features the skins, because pretty much 99% was just reused. Although the Deep Color Marathon, the Deep Color event features judges by using different kind of colors to the judges. So that was a little bit different twist right there. Every event had their own twist, with this one being like merging different events, which actually made me wonder, maybe it's a variant of actually getting different kinds of sets. If you really are in it to grind for getting all of these sets and increase your power, then you would increase your power dramatically. But I wasn't interested in that, so that wasn't really part of my concern. Part of my concern was actually trying to get some keys by opening the Packets of Luck, so I didn't save tokens. I don't think there was any events where I had to save those tokens currency at all. I just used it all for trying to finish the marathon, and thus the Full Moon Riddles marathon being the marathon with two parts, where one part has skins while the other ones have just extra mooncakes to just boost through the events, and booster packs to just help us boost through the event. So it was a marathon that helped itself. You can say it like that, because it wasn't really like that with the first two marathons, but this marathon was a marathon that helped itself, in which many people would say, because of that, it made this marathon easy to go with. The easiest marathon to go with to get the skin and complete, unlike the two other events, while the Deep Color was being the reckless one in the midst of a summer days where many people have summer breaks and they are sitting down during the events. Sure, it was actually a ton of grinding for me, and thus for many others. So comparing the events by all of this, yeah, it's sure been quite some grinding. But what I am happy of is that I actually managed to get the skins. I can even show you guys. Yes, I have this skin, which I still don't want to use because it removes the idea of modernism. But at least I got an achievement of getting the skin. Instead, I go for the Shadow Limits die of that skin. And if we go to Legion, Legendary, and show you guys the Warmonger. Yes, I use the Immortal skin, and it looks pretty slick in its own way, so I still like that. Because it fits within the topic. And then we have the Grand Arbiter, which made it look more modern. That's also why I wanted to use the skin instead of the Blue Judge. The Blue Judge works pretty well though, until I actually was able to get the skin, and that's when I was thinking, I actually like the skin. I actually like the skin and want to use it, so therefore I want to use it. And of course, there's going to be more skins. So in conclusion, I feel like every event was fun. Although two of them little bit more brutal than the current one, but in the end right there, I was really happy. Despite all of the grinding that I had to take, all the gameplay that I had to take, and also the time I had to make videos, because probably I was kind of worried whenever I was playing Deep Color in whether I would be able to make videos at all when I had to play the event. That was my concern, if I had to spend most of the time playing the event rather than making videos, because I wanted to make videos, but at the same time I also had to play the event so I can make some progression during this. But also was supposed to be a video about the concern with this event and so on. So that's pretty much all the comparisons. So I would take this as light as I can say it, but the Deep Color Marathon, I think we all can agree that was pretty a reckless event based on the marathon focus, and same goes a little bit. It's a little bit less with the Wheel of History marathon, and then it all went cool with the Full Moon Riddles marathon, because it was actually just a marathon which helped itself, and also paired with the October marathon, it already helped complete the October marathon in just one sweep. So another two birds down in one rock moment right there. And that's going to be it for today's video right here, guys. It's been a bunch of bumbling, a bunch of talking by me myself, but I hope you guys did get the idea that I'm putting forward to whenever I compare the videos myself. And we're close to 500 subscribers. We're getting close. I see that it's been popping back and forth right there, but we're getting close to 500 subs. If we manage to do it, it's going to be a face reveal, and perhaps we actually manage to do it during this autumn break right here. We're at the weekend of this autumn break, and that's when school's starting again, so hopefully we'll see and hope for the best. And until then, I'll catch you guys in another one.